folks, what's up? We've got another modification that just arrived. Super excited once again. These are the AWR race mounts for my 2015 Ford Focus ST. So the good people over at AWR even threw in some complimentary t-shirts. This is their Focus t-shirt. I think that's pretty cool. Big shout out, thumbs up to the people at AWR. Just so you guys know, AWR is a family-run business. It's an American family-run business over in California. They make almost exclusively race car parts. So everything that they make, everything they design and touch is tested at the track. You can go look up their Instagram, social media. You can look at all the things that they make parts for, all the platforms that they make parts for. And a lot of people run their stuff just by looking at these mounts, picking them up and looking at the design. I mean, they're super sturdy. They've got a good weight to them. They feel good. It's something that's going to last forever. You're not gonna have to worry about these mounts giving out or wearing out. I think these are steel. It's welded steel. They just feel and look like they mean business. So let's go into exactly what we've got in front of us. So we've got a full mount kit for the Focus ST. That is the passenger side mount, the driver's side mount, and the rear motor mount over here. I had them spec this color because the rear motor mount is a harder durometer, meaning that this bushing right here is actually harder than the bushing that is inside of the transmission and the passenger motor mount. I went with an 88A durometer for the rear motor mount and a 70A and a 70A for the sides. This is actually the combination that AWR themselves run in their shop car. They run softer side mounts and a stiffer rear motor mount. Now why I did that is because the rear motor mount is gonna see the most force from the engine. So I wanted it to be stiffer, but I didn't want the whole car to turn into a massage chair, so I decided to use the two softer mounts to kind of absorb some of that vibration that I know is going to get passed along by the rear motor mount. Because while all of these work in a team, the rear motor mount sees the majority of the torque and the vibration from the motor, and these two mounts are there mostly to just hold the motor in place. So that's why I went ahead and did that. But the other really cool thing about AWR is this. These mounts are interchangeable. So say I put this combination in and it was too stiff and I didn't like it, or it was too soft and I wanted to go harder. Their design is awesome because if you want to go softer or harder, you just buy new bushings and press the old bushings out, pop the new ones in, and you got a whole new mount. So that's a great, awesome design. And that's part of the reason why I went with AWR. Plus, like I said, I like supporting local American business that does good things. And let me tell you, the customer service with AWR is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. They were recommended to me from a couple of buddies. So I can't wait to throw these in the car and see how it feels at the racetrack. Now here's a second piece. So as you guys know, if you've been on my YouTube for a while, you know that I have PowerFlex motor mount inserts currently in the car. So what that means is the stock motor mounts, I took those and pressed these PowerFlex inserts inside of there to stiffen up the mounts. That lasted me a long time, a little bit over a year. It's a great combination for the street, but not for the track. I've actually already blown the passenger side motor mount, even with that PowerFlex insert in. So because I didn't want to keep running into this problem, I decided just to wait, get myself a set of mounts that I won't ever have to worry about that with again, and throw these in. So, all right, guys, that's my little blurb about these mounts. Go check them out, AWR. You can use the code I used for 10% off was #TeamAWR. I don't know if that's still a valid code, but that's what I used. You can hit them up, and I'm sure they'll be happy to share a discount code with you for some business. So, all right, well, we're gonna go ahead and throw these in and tell you how they feel. All right, guys. What's up, folks? So I'm in the middle of doing the AWR motor mount install. I've already done the rear mount, which is right there. That went real nice, went in real nice and easy. Now I'm on the side mount, passenger side mount. This is the PowerFlex insert that I was talking about. It's been on this car for over a year and a half. And as you can see, this mount is blown. This mount was brand new when I put in these inserts, by the way, and it's already been blown. But then again, I have been using my car for autocross and racetrack, so I've been using it and driving it pretty aggressively. So I don't really blame the mount or PowerFlex at all. Even with this mount blown like this, it was a really good street setup. But recently it was really cold and rainy and the tires were hard, and I went to accelerate and I had some really bad wheel hop, and I think it was due to this. And if I shake this mount, you can hear the looseness and the jiggle. So you can tell that's not very solid. Yep, so now we're gonna throw in the AWR mount and be good to go here soon. It was really straightforward, easy install. Support the motor from the bottom of the jack, all those regular things. Okay guys, so before I put it in, I wanted to show you the AWR mount up close, passenger side one. As you can see, this mount is solid as hell. 1/4 inch thick steel. The bushing is inside this cylinder right here. You can see the bushing right there. And as you can hear, there's nothing to give here. It's solid. Versus the old stuff. Okay guys, so I've got the mount, the passenger side AWR mount lined up. There's just a couple things I want to go over real quick. So I didn't do an install walk through with the rear motor mount because the rear motor mount install is exactly like every other rear motor mount for this car. So if you want to know how to install the AWR rear motor mount, just look at any other rear motor mount install for the Focus ST. It goes in the exact same way. It's painless. Just do it that exact same way. This motor mount, the passenger side and the transmission side, I'm sure I'm going to have to walk you guys through, just because this does fit a little tight, which is a good thing. That means it's never going to move, but we should just go over some things. So at first it really didn't sit flush, but that was because I had to jiggle the engine around. Like, yes, literally you have to wiggle the engine around. I have minimal pressure on this jack stand right now, so it's still holding the motor, but it's not applying pressure. It's just resting right now, which still allows me, I might be able to show you here, which still allows me to, you probably can't tell, but very slightly move the motor, which allowed the motor mount to sit flat. So if you're doing this install and you put it on here and you're like, the motor mount does not sit flat, that's because you need to jiggle the engine around. So you might have to release some pressure on the jack. Don't release all the pressure. Don't let the engine droop. Just release some of the pressure. Allow the engine to slightly fall down and forward, and then this will slide into place and it will be flat with the frame of the car as you can see it is now. Okay guys, almost done with this side. One last thing I wanted to show you is this. So these spacers, okay, and this extension come with the kit. It's all supplied. So I've got everything tightened down. That's tightened. That's tightened. Got my handy dandy torque wrench here, which I'm going to go through and tighten everything over again once it's done. But as you can see, that's flat against the frame. So is that. Put these spacers here, and they're going to help keep the bolts on the threads where they need to be. Make sure you put this extension right here because this is for the coolant reservoir, okay? Once you've done that, put all the bolts on, tighten everything down, good to go. Okay guys, so now, so I've got the passenger side mount done, that's in. Now I'm on the transmission side, and I did a bunch of work already. Already took out the old transmission mount with the old PowerFlex bushing. So this is the trickier part. It's not too bad actually, in my opinion, but there's a couple things you gotta know. So once you get the battery and stuff out of the way, it looks like this because the battery would normally be hooked up. So don't be intimidated by all this. Plus, this is my amp thing that goes to the sound system of my car. It's whatever. So anyway, all right, so this is the top of the mount. All right, so what you have to do is you actually have to separate the mount. So there's a bolt that holds the mount together, all right? Separate it, just unbolt it. It's not hard at all. Separate the mount. You install the base first, which is this, okay? You install the bottom part. So the trick is you gotta leave them loose. That way you can take your jack, all right, which is supporting the transmission. All right, make sure you're doing that safely. I've got a little jack pad, it's a rubber pad. Do it with something soft, not metal to metal. So you've got to jack up the transmission very slowly until that hole lines up, all right? Hey folks, really quick, I just want to interject here. We're fast forwarding into the future right now. In the video of the install, I showed you that this this bolt right here, I showed you a video with the washer or the spacer that you can see that is underneath the base of the mount. I showed it installed incorrectly. Before I had the spacer above the base of the mount, in between the bottom of the hat of the bolt and the top of the mount base. The way you see it here is how it needs to look to be installed correctly. I had it installed incorrectly, I had it reversed, but it needs to be installed like this. I reached out to AWR just to make sure, and they told me that it was installed incorrectly, so I'm showing you guys now exactly how it needs to look. It is going to take a little bit of wiggling and finesse. It's not too bad though. Honestly, it was easier to install this transmission mount than it was to install the PowerFlex bushings into the OEM mount. But that's just something that I want to point out, okay? So remember, you know, because you'll end up coming back here and doing it again if you don't pay attention. This spacer right here that I'm touching needs to go beneath the base of the mount, in between the transmission and the base of the mount. And then you put one of the provided washers right here, and then the bolt goes through it. And I'll show you why that is, because if you look at the stock transmission mount, you can see that because the stock transmission mount sat like this, all right? This is how it sat. And you can see that that front boss up here, that front arm, actually sits lower than the rear two. So that spacer that we put right here, that spacer makes up for that space so that everything sits nice and flat. All right, so, and these are all my old mounts, by the way. So those are the OEM mounts with the PowerFlex bushings, and this is a Ponal performance mount that was, I think it's discontinued, to be honest. Wasn't bad, but you know, the grease was getting squeezed out of this thing, and we had some fitment issues. Everybody had fitment issues with the nut on here actually making contact with a part of the engine. So yeah, glad to have that stuff gone. But so I just wanted to show you guys that really quick, and now we'll go back to the rest of the video. All right. Okay, folks, so I have everything installed now. The passenger transmission and the rear motor mount from AWR. Everything's tightened up. It's good to go. I've been driving on this setup now for about 4 days, and I really like it. So let's go ahead and take a little test drive, and I'll tell you what I think about the kit. So first things first, let's talk about what everybody wants to know, which is how do they feel as far as vibrations. So I'll be honest with you, it feels great. Coming from a kind of mismatched motor mount setup, which is what I had, going to a, one brand overall and one kind of similar design, so much better. It feels like everything's on the same frequency now. And I'll tell you this much, there's definitely some vibration, but it's super smooth. Very, very, very smooth, and it's not obnoxious at all. I actually have less vibrations than I did with the PowerFlex inserts and that Ponal rear motor mount. I have less vibrations, but it seems like the engine is under more control now, and the engine moves less. So, it doesn't vibrate as much, but I have way more control and performance. The steering response, that's one of the first things I noticed, was the steering response was so much sharper and linear, I guess you can say, compared to how it was before. The steering response was kind of weird, not very precise. Now it is very precise, and I guess that comes from you're basically connecting the engine to the frame with race motor mounts like these. So it feels really good. And the biggest upgrade or biggest difference was the acceleration. Because this keeps the engine pretty much stiff and steady, it puts all of the available power, or most of it, down to the floor. So acceleration is very, very noticeable. The acceleration increase just seemed like as soon as I hit the throttle, it was like a light switch. Whereas before, it was more of a progressive type of thing. With the softer motor mounts. Now it's as soon as I go wide open throttle, the car just wants to go instantly. So in summary, my final thoughts of these motor mounts is that AWR really has managed to bring a motor mount solution to this platform that is not unmanageable. Normally, or if you look at the rest of the competition, all of the motor mounts that give you better grip, sharper handling, better steering response, better throttle response and acceleration, all of those mounts also make it damn near impossible to drive your car comfortably because they just rattle the heck out of everything. But these AWR mounts are smooth as butter, and it's almost unbelievable, but it's true. So hats off to the design team over there at AWR, and the engineers, and the welders, and all the people who make it possible. But this really is an awesome product, and I also think that these are the best priced full motor mounts that you can get for the Focus ST almost anywhere on the internet that are going to deliver this amount of performance. So if you ask me, was it worth it? Heck yeah, absolutely. The car is a blast to drive. It increased, you know, the driver confidence, and it really makes a car truly feel like a driver's car now. You know, and it really highlights where the stock mounts, or, you know, inferior motor mounts were lacking, you know, in performance. And as I drive these motor mounts, as I put more miles on them and take them to the track and break them in more, they're only going to get better. So, you know, I'm absolutely pleased with my purchase, and if I could do it again, I would, by just doing it sooner. So, you know, huge thumbs up to AWR. Keep doing what you're doing and supporting the community. You know, keep making products for the Focus ST. So if you guys have any more questions, leave a comment below, like and subscribe, of course. You can hit me up on Instagram at trackmodestr, trackmode_STR, or YouTube here, or Facebook if you got me on Facebook. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you consider these motor mounts and you put them in your car and you have just as much fun as I am having now. Until then, see you later.